Everyone has known for some time now that Erdogan has been prioritising growth at all costs, growth above all else. Now, there have been some concern that maybe this rising cost in living, the rise in inflation, coupled with the cost of the earthquake cleanup after February's events, that might have dampened things down a little bit, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of this just yet. So where are today's figures coming from? Well, a 16% rise in household spending on this time last year, so very strong consumer demand for products, but also government spending as well. Now, we talked about the elections there. Erdogan went into the runoff on Sunday knowing that he was really fighting for his political life, and he launched a host of giveaway policies to win over favour with his core conservative voters in the AKP. These included better pension settlements, rises in public spending in areas like the minimum wage. He even gave away natural gas for 1 month to all households in May. All very nice to have, but potentially, of course, inflationary, and we do know about the inflation problems. So let's have a look at the figures for inflation then. It's up 44%. Those are the latest figures in April. That's come down from the all-time high that we saw in October, but still the cost of living a really big problem for many households, particularly energy and food. So what's he going to do to get out of this? Is he going to claw back a little bit? Is he going to change his mind on interest rate policies? There hasn't been any sign of that so far. He's still maintaining that he's sticking to this policy of keeping credit nice and cheap, interest rates low. So will he continue to prioritise trade? Now, if he wants to manufacture and push the economy out of this slump and really get things going again, he's going to have to deal with the weakness of the lira and also meeting the rise in the current account deficits, because obviously Turkey is struggling with the worldwide price rises that we're seeing in base metals, all of the imports, the raw materials that they need to power the manufacturing base. So let's look at the lira then. Well, as you were saying, today it's had another rotten day on the markets. Mid-morning in London, it was down to 20.7 against the dollar. It's just over 22 to the euro now. And this, this weakness of the lira is continuing to cause real problems for households, these core conservative voters where Erdogan gets his support. So he's facing a conundrum ahead of him. What's he going to do next? And that's what we've got to keep an eye out for.
Well, you've mentioned it's unlikely that he's going to move from his unorthodox interest rate policy, but what is going to happen next?
It's all up in the air at the moment, Julia, but we could get our first signs when we hear about the new look cabinet for this new 5 years in office that he's just won at this runoff poll. We find out possibly as early as Friday. Now, there are some signs that he could be bringing back some of the old guard, some of the more orthodox and monetarist economists who figured in the AKP administration quite early on and then went on to be sidelined, left and went to do other things. There's speculation that he could bring back Mehmet Şimşek, who was his finance chief up until a few years ago. He is also a conservative on the right wing of the AKP, but he's also much more your classic monetarist economist. So could he put some pressure on Erdogan to change his mind on interest rates, to start putting rates back up again? Also, Lutfi Elvan, a former central bank governor, he actually quit his post back in 2021 after arguing with Erdogan over the direction of interest rate policies. They fell out there. Erdogan sacked three central bank governors in recent years. Could policy be about to change? Now, the next big test for the AKP back in power won't be until next year, but that is when it holds local elections. Now, if you look at the result map after the elections, it showed a very clear geographical divide between the western areas, the big cities, Istanbul and Ankara, that supported the opposition, and this Anatolian heartland. Now, Erdogan knows if he's going to win back these key urban areas, then the economy has got to improve, and it's got to improve for everyone.
It does sound like he needs to have the right team around him. Louise Greenwood, thank you very much.